All right, so I just wanted to share a website that I've been working on that's for teachers to help test their kids and also give their kids a place to practice and set goals. It's myclassprogress.com, and right now it's not open to the public. You have to have a login to get in. So there's a couple different aspects to the website. What we're looking here in this blue box is all the teacher control panel. Up here is the student menu. As a teacher, you're able to create benchmark tests, which typically involve a bunch of different standards. You just pick what standards that you want to be on the benchmark, and then it shows you all the questions that are in the website based on those standards. So here's all the questions for the couple standards that I picked. You name it, and voila, the benchmark is created and will show up in this menu. Now, students are able to, or you're able to see those benchmarks, and this is also the same page that the students will take the test on. For the students, they just go to benchmark and click the available benchmark exams. As a teacher, you're able to lock and unlock benchmark exams from the student view so that you only have open the ones that you want them to see. Once that's done, you're able to see the students' grades. You're able to see a breakdown, which is basically a view per question of how each student did. And you can highlight over each question and see what the question was that they got right or wrong. And you also can see the totals for that class per question of how many students got it right. And you can filter out, if I want to see every question that 60% or less of the kids got right, then it'll highlight that for me. You can also see the grades, and the grades are color-coded by TCAP cut scores to give you an idea of if they're below basic, basic, proficient, or advanced. You're also able to see a breakdown by standard so that you can see how your kids did per standard as opposed to per question. So all the questions that had to do with distance, rate, and time, this student got 100%, this student got 33%. And it also, once again, will average for you the total percentage of questions right for that standard for each class. And once again, you're able to filter the percentages to highlight for you how many got right or wrong. With that said, you're able to create questions. You're able to edit the questions that go into the website. And this is really nice. A lot of sites that are test sites, it's a lot more cumbersome of a process. Here, you just put in the questions and answers. As a teacher, it already knows what grade you teach, what subject you teach. It already knows all of the stuff that a lot of sites make you enter in per question. So the amount of time per question to create questions is a lot faster. And then there's also quizzes. Quizzes pull from the same pool of questions, but instead of you having to build the quiz for the students, they just take the distance, rate, time quiz or the cost per unit quiz. And out of all of the questions, it's going to randomly pull a fixed amount that you set in your preferences panel. So when kids are retaking tests, it's not going to be the same quiz. As a matter of fact, two kids next to each other will be taking two different quizzes, all in the same standard, which makes grading and giving retest and giving kids chances to take tests over again really easy. Then you can see the quiz grades by standard. This is some information for me. Here's my actual students broken up by date. And then you're also able to see each question's results. And now keep in mind that since it's randomly pulling questions, not every kid will have answered every single question. So the white spots are just questions that kid hasn't been presented. And once again, you can hover over to see what the questions were that they got right or wrong. There is an opportunity. You can link into Khan Academy and other online sites and see how your students are doing. It'll show you all of the different websites modules for that standard and your kids' scores. So I can see how my kids are doing on the Khan Academy rate problems module and on the Manga High speed distance time calculations. Then there's a practice section, and this is really cool. You can create your own practice questions. And the students are able to go in and actually practice a given standard with questions you've created. And it will keep up with a score for them. It's kind of a little algorithm that they get more and more points the more questions they get right, but then also they lose more questions if they're already on a streak. And if they miss the question, then it loads up pre-made support material that you make per question. And as their score increases, the difficulty increases. You're also given this really awesome view that shows you the quiz scores compared to the practice scores so you can see how effective your practice is doing. For this specific standard right now, the quiz average is a 60 and the practice average is a 67. So maybe the practice questions are a little bit too easy, and that kind of helps guide how well the practice section is preparing the kids for the test. Students are also able to set goals. They're able to go in, and this is one I pre-made. Let's start over fresh. They can go in and pick what standard they feel like they need to work on. They can enter why. They can enter in what their target grade will be. And for any given standard, this works the exact same way. And they can even pick what their strengths and weaknesses are. And then when they submit that, it'll show them what standard they're supposed to be working on, why they said they need help with it, what their strengths and weaknesses are. And then also it'll show them all of the modules that are tied to that standard and what their current score is. And then it'll show them their most recent test grade and what their target test grade is. And once they're done, they're able to start over. As a teacher, you're able to see what each kid's, what their goals are, but you're also able to break up their goals by strengths and weaknesses. So as you're grouping kids, you can look through strengths and weaknesses and say, okay, well, these kids said they were strong here and these kids said they were weak there, so I could sit them together and have them work. And it also, I mean, this is a major psychological component of the site, that it's shifting focus to where the students are setting their own goals and setting their own agendas. And when students are choosing what to work on and what they need help with, they have a lot more buy-in because, obviously it's their choice, not a teacher telling them what to do. If you want to look at a real detailed view per student, you can go through and see per kid. It'll show you your entire class roster. It'll show you how that kid has done on recent quizzes, out of the benchmarks, how they've done for the questions for that standard. So like he missed 0 out of the 2 questions for that standard on that benchmark. I then had him work on it some more, and then on the next benchmark, he got 100%. So that's growth. So you're able to see per standard all like the online modules, the practice section, everything per kid. And then lastly, for paper tests like practice TCAPs and other paper tests that kids have to take, you can easily set up to where the kids just enter their answer key in, and you'll get the exact same results that you would have if it was a test built into the website. So this is actually a practice TCAP my kids took, and I can see by question the same information that's there. The students, this is where they see their goals. The students can see all of their own data as well. The students are able to see how they've done on every section. There's quizzes. This is where they pick. They get to see their grades, the benchmarks, how they're doing on the modules. And that's the gist of the website. So I just thought I would share what I've been working on, and anybody that's been, that does any kind of development or maybe as a teacher that would like to use this, let me know. Thanks.